So you've started your community. How should it be run? Running your community, if you want it to be sustainable, should rely on consensus democracy. If you have buy-in and shared ownership and responsibility, it will be very sustainable. This is a technique to get around people's egos and is used in the co-housing movement and even corporate level Six Sigma to some extent. There are 5 things that make a community toxic and doomed to fail. They can work for a while, but in the long run they will not survive. Number 1 is freeloaders, or people who provide nothing or little, yet often see it as a service owed to them. They have no interest in being part of organizing or helping out where needed. They feel naturally owed this community without putting anything back in. Number 2, no inherent structure to spread out power and organizing. A freeloader is different from a free rider. Often to recruit and decide to commit to the group, one has to be a free rider for a bit to sample things out. But often the organizational structure isn't set up to transition these free riders into decision-making members. This leads to number 3, hierarchies, where a small set of people run and organize things. This creates a power structure which draws people who want power to want to take that power whether they realize it or not. If hierarchies don't exist, this leads to number 4, people taking on too much and burning out. Once they decide they need to step down, the community collapses. And lastly, number 5, cliques. If communities overlap, often people from one community that already know each other will stick together, and this will lead often to an othering or lack of feeling welcome by people not in that clique, which often prevents them from moving beyond their free rider status, shifting over to a freeloader, or dropping out once the need no longer exists. Consensus democracy involves ensuring everyone is heard and the decision that most people can live with is taken. Many of the tricks used in it mirror that of couples counseling, a way to communicate and make sure everyone feels heard. There are several methods of doing so, like with the initial discussion session in the last section. There should be one mostly impartial person in charge of the discussion who has minimal involvement and can be depended on to keep time and calm people down if tempers flare. If the person in charge believes they can't be objective, they need to ask the least involved person to take over. If there is a problem, it should be raised in the meeting as soon as possible before any situation gets to the breaking point. What must first happen is for anyone to raise problems or ideas as a motion. Next, define the problem or idea to its most succinct form. If everyone agrees that the motion definition is acceptable, next comes the brainstorming session. Everyone must go around and make a suggestion, even if it's kind of a dumb suggestion. In fact, dumb suggestions, so long as they aren't too ludicrous, can increase levity in the discussion. It also helps reduce getting married to any one solution. Do not get too attached to one idea. Next, by show of hands or some other method, the solutions can be read off one by one, and everyone will ask if an idea is at least livable. Take account of show of hands. If nothing gets unanimous livability, ask the topmost questions again, and ask if people can at least tolerate it. If there are multiple solutions that people could live with, or some of the top ones that some people can't, you can do a round of 1 to 3 minutes per person to make their case for the suggestion. If there are less than 4 options, use an approval voting method to choose. This involves allowing people to vote on any option they like, all of them if they like them. People can vote for multiple solutions, and the option that gets the most votes wins. If 4 or greater exist, use a ranked choice system where people rank their preferences in numerical order. If no vote is over 50%, take the lowest votes and give the votes to their second choice. Do this until at least one option has greater than 50% vote. These are solutions that everyone can live with, so there is no lesser of two evils in this case. If there is no choice everyone can live with, it might be possible to take names without judgment of the top solutions of people who cannot abide by said policy. This motion will be tabled until the group splits. This might be used in deciding how the community is split up if it's something half the group wants and the other does not. If people react heatedly or emotionally to something in a community, it is important to remember and be reminded that people have no ability to read your mind and understand why you're upset, even if it seems obvious to you. If a person is getting too heated or emotional, it might be best to pause and focus on the person's emotion and what is causing it if enough people don't understand it. Emotions are very subjective, but also very real to the person and often aren't logical at all. Triggers and phobias can turn normal interactions very sour and emotional because of the person's past. If you want to explain what you're feeling, try to use non-violent communication. Instead of, "you did this to me," instead say something like, "when you did this, I felt." The person may be completely oblivious to what you felt at all. Reacting in a way that appears accusatory can put people on the defensive and create strife and division in a community. It's why in hunter-gatherer societies, telling someone you were angry or getting angry made people keep an eye on you and keep their distance for a bit, because heated emotions can destroy a community, and for them, community is survival. When explaining how you feel, explain, say, on a scale from 1 to 10, what level of emotion it made you feel. If you can express it, also explain on 1 to 10 scale how it affects your body. Being annoyed, nervous, or anxious is much different than reflux, muscle spasms, and headaches. If it's just disagreement or dislike, just kind of suck it up and get your ego out of the way. But if it's causing these kind of physical negative reactions or emotional reactions, that would be bordering on abuse if the person was actively knowingly doing it to you. Once stated, it's best for the party involved to repeat back and paraphrase as they understood what the person just said, so they can be sure they're understanding it clearly. Sometimes you don't even understand what or why you're feeling it clearly, and having it repeated back to you incorrectly might better help you articulate for yourself what you're actually feeling. If a person is sincere and not wanting to cause harm to their fellow community, they will take it to heart and readjust. It may take a bit to change lifelong habits, so be charitable if they slip up doing so. Focusing on feelings may appear to be all warm, fuzzy, hippy-dippy, but for a community to survive, this is very serious, or the community can collapse from infighting and resentment. Other than that, besides planning and organizing and conflict resolution, the only other major pillar is fun, and with consensus democracy, the chances of everyone having fun is drastically increased. If people aren't enjoying themselves, they will drop out. Fun will cause bonding and good memories, leading to a stronger, more sustainable community. The next section will discuss the process of community division, when it reaches an agreed upon number. The section after that will explain why the next section is the most difficult for me to write, because I was planning on and am working on a social toolkit platform that will make the division part quick and seamless, so the rules for doing so in person are a bit more complicated. However, my skills are not the best when it comes to coding, because I'm self-taught. For now, that will be the last of the sustainable community section, but I'm sure more will be added as time goes on, with new insights, feedback, and ideas. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. If you wish to be a part of this project, want to create a logo for us, or want your Solarpunk art displayed discussing any of our main points of focus, please send everything to solarpunkusa@proton.me. There is also a Patreon link for my main channel if you like what I'm doing. For the first section involving community building, this channel will be run directly by myself. After that point, I hope to make this a collaborative project with many people involved, including voice, information, and editing, to make this a robust channel that can spread and grow.